Look at that. You've got your onion rings and stuff. She said this special lasts today only.
I know.
Today only, and that's what? That was $6? Or $6.
Probably.
And here I've got sweet potato fries. And these are cheeseburgers.
Double cheeseburger on mine.
Double cheeseburger on yours, okay. $6 at the Mayhill Cafe in Mayhill. On, what is this, National Hamburger Day? Yep. There's the Mayhill Cafe. It's I think they had the building at 1903 or 1904 in there.
Something like that.
Yeah, 1904. And boy, was that good hamburgers.
Oh,
You like that, don't you?
it's a hamburger. I told her we were going to get a hamburger. He knows what it is.
She knows what a hamburger
He knows
means.
what the word is. Yum yum. I think it's too windy to give you a bath.
Yeah, and make her feel cold.
Hi, sweetie. Hi. Did you like that? Did you go pee-pee? I love the way grass smells when it's hot.
You're a good girl. Cassie, good girl.
Hey, let's
Good
go get
girl.
some flowers.
Isn't it beautiful down here? And the Mayhill Country Store is under new ownership. No longer do we have those racist signs in the windows. Mayhill Country Store. Normal people have that
Yes.
country store now.
Or
The weirdo previous owner is gone. This is Mayhill looking up there.
boy,
Teeny tiny little place.
they're really getting crowded in there. We were lucky to come on.
Yeah, I wanted us to get there about 11 or so. Hi, Cassie.
It's going to be a hot summer.
Yeah, it is. These hills over here now, they look green, but that's the scrub from. See all these green hills here? They used to be covered in pine trees and fir trees, just covered. ATV Spark ignited all this forest up.
So you didn't have any sisters?
No, I don't have any sisters.
Brother? You had a
I have
brother.
one brother. He's 4 years older. And unfortunately, Nat went insane in his 20s.
Oh.
I mean, he literally lost his mind. I was living in Austin and he was living in San Diego. And my mother is in El Paso. And she calls me up and she says that Christmas is coming up. And she says, Nat's going to join us at Christmas because normally I went to El Paso for Christmas time. And I said, and Beverly too, his wife. What do you mean?
Married.
Yes, he's married. He has children.
Oh.
And mother says, no, honey, just Nat. He's had a little bit of a disagreement with Beverly, and he's coming. I just wanted to let you know. She knows how I can be. And I said, what do you mean a disagreement? And she said, well, I don't, he told me that he's just not going to be spending. I said, what are you talking about? Well, I couldn't get any answer out of her. So after I said my pleasantries and we had the rest of our conversation, I hung up and I called up Nat. I did not know he was losing his mind. I called him up. Now, mind you, this is important to this story. What?
Oh, I don't want to miss the garden center.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll keep. Anyway, I'm talking to Nat on the phone and I said, what's going on with you and Bev? And he said they'd had an argument. She's always arguing with him, blah, blah, blah. Well, as his sister, I don't believe that garbage. And at any rate, and I said, well, what's going on? Why aren't you spending Christmas with your family? he finally got it out that she made him slap her. Now, that's garbage.
She made him.
Yeah, and for one thing, you have to understand about how we were raised. We were raised off Dr. Spock, baby and child care. And mother raised us like that's the Bible. We were never spanked. We were never threatened with physical violence. We were never slapped. We were never, our discipline was being lectured.
I can see him saying, he made her slap.
Yes. And you know, she made me lose my temper and I slapped her. You know, and anyway, and we were raised where you just do not hit somebody else and you do not lay hands on somebody else. You don't shove them, you don't push them, you don't slap them, you don't, you know, do anything. You certainly don't spank them, you don't whip them. I mean, we were raised Dr. Spock, baby and child care. I mean, we were lectured. We knew right from wrong, and we knew why it was right and why it was wrong. Mother was a teacher. I mean, she liked to instruct, and you know, and if she was really mad, if you did something really bad, boy, you had to listen to a lecture. You know, that was your punishment. We were, and I just freaked. I freaked over the phone. I said, "You did what?" And I just started telling him off left and right, thinking I'm talking to a normal person. That Christmas he comes from San Diego, I come from Austin, we're there in El Paso, and the first thing I notice about Nat is he looks, there was something in his eyes and his facial expressions that reminded me of a few, not all, but a few of my patients, and I had not seen that in his face before. Before he arrived, Mother had taken me, you know, aside. She said, "Now, honey," and I said, "Mother, you didn't tell me that he hit Beverly. I mean, you just don't. Why didn't you tell me that?" And she said, "Well, I knew you would get very upset, and I didn't want you to start screaming and yelling on the phone." And she said, "Now, when we meet him at the airport, I want you to behave like a Mother was always acting like I have to act like a young lady. I want you to behave like a proper young lady, and I don't want you to walk up to him and start screaming and yelling at him in the airport." And she said, "Let's just get through Christmas with everyone loving each other and getting along."
Right.
You know. So, you know, I'm minding my manners. There was no, you know, Mother told me, don't start bringing up that subject with Nat. Don't start ruining things at the dinner table, starting to call him to account. Right. I'm sure he knows he did the wrong thing. And I said, "Well, Mother, you never hit any of us, spanked us, hurt us in any way. And you had taught us that if we are never to lay our hands on someone else." And I said, "There's something wrong." This is before I saw the looks in his face and in his eyes. And I said to her, "There's something wrong with him to even think that he had the right to do that to his wife." Right. And she said, "I know, honey." And she said, "But I don't want you starting to try to analyze him and get to the bottom of everything the way you do." And she said, "You just, we're just gonna love each other and get along." You know, that kind of motherly stuff. Well, okay, so he comes home. Now, meanwhile, our grandmother, Kitty is her nickname, Kitty's had been in the hospital because she had a stroke. And she was in rehab, and now she comes home. And we pick up Nat at the airport. Next day we go and we get Kitty from the hospital. And Kitty the stroke affected her where she couldn't really talk well. And she went through a lot of speech therapy, and then she did regain her speech. She did regain her ability to talk. Anyway, Nat was there for 2 days before I kicked him out. I'll cut to the chase. He was home he was visiting, as I was visiting. Yeah, here it is, for 2 days. And after 2 days, I kicked him out of the house. Yeah. I kicked him out, and I kicked his ass right back to San Diego. Because he actually lost his temper out of the blue for no reason whatsoever. on day 2, and he actually said, "Mom, shut up." And Kitty was trying to tell him something, and he said, "You've got shit for brains," to our grandmother, and I flew out of my chair. Now he's 6'2", he towers over me. And I said, "You get out of this house right now." And he stood up, towering over me, and he said, "I'd like to see you make me do it." And I said, "All right." And I went and called the cops.
You haven't talked to him since?
No, I've talked to him since, but I called the cops, kicked him out.